Hope all had fun, relaxed a bit, so and did the homeworks also. So let's get back to work. So last thing we are doing the graphs part. So let's continue from there. So this was the last problem we are doing on omega based. A fan starting from rest has angular acceleration alpha is equal to 1200 revolutions per minute square. Let's make it simple only. 10 radian per second. Find the angle rotated in first 10 seconds and next 10 seconds. Next 10 meaning 10 to 20. Get this thing? Easy question. Let's see. Now this thing, right? We know this formula. Delta theta is omega initial into time plus half alpha t square. So omega initial is 0. You could have done this thing like this also. Imagine it's like a car whose acceleration is 10. This is t is 0. So t is equal to 10 seconds, you are here. 20 seconds, you are here. You can always convert this like a translation problem and finish it off. So this guy would be how much? Half, acceleration is 10 and time is 10 square. That's 500. From here to here would be how much? Half. Acceleration 20 square. That is 400 into 5. That's 2000. So from this also you can finish it off. So delta theta from 0 to 10 will be 500. Angle rotated from 10 to 20 will be 2000 minus 500. 1500. Check it out. Meaning, like I told you, right, there's a lot of resemblance between the translation motion kinematics and circular kinematics. So you can always make it into a straight line and solve. You'll still get the same answer.
Sir,
Yeah.
in which cases we can't use this trick?
Which one?
This we imagine the object as a car and straight
You can
line.
do that in circular motion. You can do it every time. Circular kinematics. Next thing. Copied? A fan has angular velocity (1200) revolutions per minute clockwise. So the fan is rotating clockwise with 1200 revolutions per minute. And the angular deceleration pi radian per second square anti-clockwise. Find time when the fan stops. So it's like, I used to do this thing when I was in school. We used to rotate the fan in one direction, opposite way. Then we used to switch on the fan. Let's say fan rotates clockwise. Now we should take a broomstick and used to rotate in the opposite direction. Then when you switch on the fan, you'll observe first the fan will slow down, stop, and then rotate in the opposite direction again. So find when the time when fan stops. Second thing, angle rotated till it stops. Angle rotated for 80 seconds. Get this thing? So you have a fan which is rotating clockwise with 1200 revolutions per minute, angular deceleration pi radian per second square anti-clockwise. Find the time when the fan stops, angle rotated till it stops, angle rotated up to 80 seconds. 3 questions. Done. First thing, convert everything into radians per second. So what is omega? 1200 revolutions per minute. That's 1200. What is one revolution? 2 pi radians. A minute is 60. 60 is or 20 is 50 pi. Alpha is anyway pi only. I'll take minus because it is in the opposite direction. You could have taken anything as positive, anything as negative. It won't matter much. Then he's asking time when it stops. So use omega final is equals to omega initial plus alpha t. Finally 0, initially 40 pi. Alpha is minus pi into time. So 40 seconds where the fan stops. That's the first part. Hope that was clear. Second thing. Next one. See. You're asking when it stops, no? Now again, see, I could convert this directly into a problem like this. You have a car. Your initial speed is 40 pi. Acceleration is backward, pi. How will this thing travel? This will go front, stop, and turn back, no? So remember this thing, whenever someone asks you angle rotated, this is similar to distance. Angular displacement is different, angle rotated is different. Remember that both are totally different. So when it stops here at this point, velocity will be 0. I can use this formula. V square minus u square is 2s. See, I can say omega final square minus omega initial square is 2 alpha delta theta. Same thing. 0. This is 40 pi ka whole square. 2 minus pi and s. That's 1600 pi square by 2 pi. 800 pi. So this thing is 40 seconds and you're traveling a distance of 800 pi. Similarly, in another 40 seconds, where will you come? You'll come to the same position. So this is also 800 pi. How did I know that? You can calculate and see what is the angular displacement. Omega initial time plus half alpha t square. Omega initial is 40 pi, time is 80. Half alpha is minus pi and time is 80 square. You get this thing 0. That means you came back to the same position. So if they ask you angle rotated, it's 1600 pi. 800 plus 800. Suppose exam they ask you angular displacement, that is 0. That's the difference. So angle rotated is as good as distance only. You rotate front or you rotate backward, you always have to add that angle rotated. Put this on. Next thing. So that is about a few things based on that. Next thing is relation. Linear and angular variables. What do you mean by that exactly? So let's say a particle is going in a circle with speed u. This is theta. R is the radius. We know this here is the arc length S. So the relation between them is what? We know S is equal to R into theta. So if you differentiate on both sides, the time. Excuse me. Then you get ds by dt, d theta by dt. What is ds by dt? Rate of change of distance. That is nothing but velocity. But remember, this is which velocity? Tangential. Because s is a tangential distance, arc length. Velocity you get is tangential distance, r into omega. The vector form of this thing is vt is omega bar cross r bar. Remember this, huh? This is important. Most people ask them what is v, they'll say v is equal to r omega. The vector form is omega cross r cap. So if they give you a vector form, you have to use this to find the, using the determinant you have to solve. Put this down. Copy it. Next thing.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Answer.
Yeah. Next thing, same thing. If you differentiate again, we got V is R omega. Again, remember this is V tangential. Okay. Again, differentiate with time. So we end up with, so dV by dt is R into d omega by dt. This thing is a tangential. Again, you're differentiating a tangential velocity, you'll get a tangential acceleration. Is R into alpha. The vector form is a tangential bar is alpha bar cross R bar. This vector formula is one of the most neglected thing. Right? Most people don't do that properly. So remember that. Now, what do you mean by exactly this relation? Example, if you take a fan or a rod, let's make it thinner. So let's say this is O, which is hinged. So on this, if you choose 3 different points, let's say A, B, and C, you'll observe how will A, B, C go. They'll go in a circle, that is okay. But if you see they go in a different circles of different radius. Na? So if I ask you what is the velocity of A, this is how the velocity of A will be. A velocity, B will be even more, C will be even more. So velocities will not be equal. The farther you are from the center, the faster you go. So if you look at the velocity VA, that will be distance RA into omega. VB will be RB into omega. VC will be RC into omega. Meaning all will cover same angles, but all will cover different distances. You can see your fan when it is rotating. The tip of the fan goes faster than the points closer to the fan. All have same angular velocity, but they have different speeds. So remember that same omega, but different speeds. Similarly, the acceleration also would be, again, tangential acceleration will be RA into alpha. Obviously, the farther you are, the faster you go, the more acceleration also you have. These are tangential accelerations. So basically here R is the distance from the center to that point. So R bar is vector from center to the point. Whichever point you want to calculate. Put this down.
So is capital R and small r the same?
Capital is a radius, smaller is the same thing. The same thing. I think I should have just kept smaller only here. The same thing. Clear? Next thing. So let's say problem on this. We have a rod. A V-shaped rod. This is hinged here. This is the top view. You're seeing this from the top. This angle is 60 degree. So let's call it OAB. So OA, OB is equal to 2 meters. If you look at from the side view, it looks like this. You able to visualize how it is? So it's like a V shape. It's like, your hand is there, na? You just bend your hand like this V shape. And this whole setup, right, is rotating like this with omega is 4 radian per second. And the alpha is 2 radian per second square. So the question is find speed and tangential acceleration of A and B. A, B, let's call this point C also. C is the midpoint. So this is the side view. Meaning this would be going in this plane, like this. Hope you're able to visualize how it is. It's an L-shaped rod. It's not exactly L-shaped. It's a V-shaped rod. Angle between them is 60 degree. So it's like a boomerang. You're rotating it horizontally. So OA and OB is 2 meters. C is the midpoint. Angle is 60. So the whole system is rotating with, omega and alpha. The values are given. Find the speed and the tangential acceleration of ABC. Hope the question is clear. Anyone didn't get the question, please ask me. I'll show you one. See, first thing, you need to find the distances basically. It's an equilateral triangle. O, A, B. If you just join them now, this is 60. So OAB is an equilateral triangle. Why? Because OA and AB sides are equal. Isosceles triangle is 60 degree. So 60 and 60. Done. So OB ka length is also 2 meters. What about C? C is the midpoint, no? OC is the height. OC will be root 3 by 2 times into 2 meters. So root 3 meters. OC is the height of the triangle. I think once you got this, job is done. What is speed of A? Distance of A, that is RA into omega, which is 2 into omega. Omega is 4. That is 8 meters per second. What is A tangential of A? RA into alpha. RA is again 2, alpha is 2, so 4 meter per second square. For B, the distance is same again. So VB will be RB into omega. RB is again 2 and 4. Answers will come same for A and B. For C, it will be RC into omega. RC is root 3. So that's 4 root 3. That is 2 root 3. So basically R is the distance from the center to that point. So I'm actually not interested what is the length and all. I'm interested in this distance and this distance and this distance. Getting the point? So you just find from O, draw a line, get the distance and finish of R omega. Put it down. Any doubts, please ask me. Next one. R bar is I plus J plus K. Omega bar is 2I minus J plus 3K. Alpha bar is 3I plus 2J minus K. Find V tangential and A tangential. The formula is what? Alpha bar cross R bar. Hope everyone knows cross product. Get this thing. Hope you guys know how to do the cross product. First one. I, j, k. Omega is 2, minus 1, 3. R is 1, 1, 1. Most people do this mistake. They do R cross omega bar. That one minus sign will mess up the whole answer. This is I. So remove these two columns, you have to do this determinant. So this into this and this into this. That's minus 1 into 1, minus 3 into 1. Minus j, that is 2 into 1, minus 1 into 3. 2 into 1 minus 1 into 1. So that would be minus 1 minus 3 minus 4i. 2 minus 3 minus 1 to plus j. 2 plus 1 3k. Check it out. This is what you should have got. This is how we do 3 into 3 det. Now try for acceleration. Done. Next one. So A tangential will be alpha cos r bar I j k. Alpha is 3 to 1. This is 1 1 1. This is I into 2 minus 1 2 plus 1 3 plus 1 3 minus 2. 3i minus 4j plus k cap. Check it out. Others should keep your cams on. I won't keep repeating it. I'll just remove it from the group. Next one. So these are some type of problems, based on this A alpha relation between them. and all. So just let's revise, what we did last class. You have a particle here going with 20 root 2 meters per second, 45 degrees, and there is a B here, 10 meters per second, 30 degrees. Distance between them is 15 meters. Find angular velocity of A as seen by B. Get this thing? If you're standing on B and look at A, what is the angular velocity?
This is 1 radians per second.
Okay. Let's see. First thing what you do, stop B. So before that, we have to take components. So A ka components will be 20, 20. B ka components will be 10 sine 30, that is 5, 10 cos 30, that is 5 root 3. So how do you stop B? Subtract the velocities of B from everyone. 5 root 3, 5, 5 root 3, and 5. You're trying to stop B. So once you do that, what will happen? B will think, okay, I'm at rest. But this guy A is going up with 15 and towards me with 20 minus 5 root 3. So in this, if you see, this is your V tangential. That is the velocity responsible for making you rotate. This is useless actually. This is not important. So what is omega? Omega is V tangential, but distance between them. Here V tangential is 15 and R is 15. That's 1 radian per second. So at that instant, B will think angular velocity of omega is 1 radian per second. So if you remember this, I showed you an example. We did this thing last time. So angular velocity of one particle with respect to another. So this Sunday, actually, there's no physics test. We have it for bio and chem. So next week, the portion will be complete loss of motion and friction. You'll be getting the test timetable by evening. I have already posted the homework in the group just now. You can have a look at it after the class. So homework for this full week is given till Sunday. You can start working on that. For NEET people, you should start solving DC Pandey because the booklet is almost done. And for JEE Main students, I sent you an extra assignment sheet. You can do that. But if NEET people want more practice, you can definitely go do module 1 and module 2 in the JEE Mains assignment also. If someone feels you need more practice, questions are ample. All that is required is your time. Hope this was clear. Next one. A particle is going in a circle of radius r with speed u. This is the radius r and this is the reference line. Find the angular velocity of the particle as seen from O and A. A is a point on the circumference.
Sir, can you show the previous page? Thank you, sir. Let's see. Now see. Let this angle be theta. And we know this omega about O is what? V tangential by radius r. That is okay because this is perpendicular anyway. When you're standing on O, the V tangential is nothing but u and r. This is d theta by dt. But tell me one thing, if you're standing on A, do you think this is perpendicular? No, the velocity is not perpendicular. So if I take like this from O, now see if this angle is theta, what is this angle? Theta by 2. You must have done this in school if you remember. How did we get that? See, I'll show you. Let this be point P. So if you make this triangle OAP, if this is alpha because it's an isosceles triangle. And this is theta. We know the sum of the exterior angle is equal to sum of the two opposite interior angles. So we know the 2 alpha is equal to theta. Actually, you can use some, this thing and prove it. This is 180 minus 2 alpha. So the sum should be, 180 minus 2 alpha plus theta should be 180. So you would have got from there. So what is angular velocity about A? D alpha by dt, the rate of change of angle. But what is alpha? Theta by 2. So that is half d theta by dt. That's u by 2r. So this is important. Unlike speed now, if someone asks you find the speed of a particle, it is u, so u only from everyone. But angular velocity is different. The same particle can have different angular velocity depending on where you're seeing it from. O will think angular velocity is u by r, but whereas A will think, O will think angular velocity is u by r, whereas A will think it is u by 2r, half of it. So remember this thing, whenever someone asks you find the angular velocity, the first question is always, sir, from where are you seeing it? The frame becomes important. Remember this is a standard question, a good one, keeps popping up multiple times. So the particle is going in a circle. If you stand at the center, it is u by r. If you stand on the circumference, it is u by 2r. And you can actually see also the angle covered is smaller. So omega also will be smaller. Copy? Any doubts on this thing? Do ask me. Next thing. So that's about, the circular kinematics is the first part. Then the second part, what we have is uniform circular motion. So what is this? Now, when we, we also call this thing UCM, just a simplifying. You will write every time such a big thing. So what is uniform circular motion? In uniform circular motion, the particle goes in a circle with a constant speed. And the acceleration on the particle, now see, speed is constant, but the direction comes on changing. Constant speed, the direction of the particle changes every instant. So therefore, there is an acceleration. Which is always perpendicular and towards the center. Now, so if you have a particle going on a circle every instant, right? If you look at the speeds, here the speed is this way, here the speed is this way, here the speed is this way. So the direction is changing. Even though the speed is constant, the direction keeps changing. And what about the acceleration? The acceleration is perpendicular and towards the center. Now, why it should be perpendicular? Simple logic, think about it. If it's not perpendicular, what will happen? If U is this way and A is this way, if it is not perpendicular, what will happen? Speed will decrease, no? If it is obtuse angle, speed decreases if it is like this. Suppose if it is this way, acute angle, then the speed will increase. But you said speed is constant. Then the only option you have is that, U and A should be perpendicular. That is the reason why acceleration is perpendicular in a uniform circular motion. If it is not perpendicular, then it will be the speed will either increase or decrease. Put it down. And look at here, A bar ka direction is also changing. Done. Next one. Great. So exactly what is happening here. So let me show you, a little mathematical thing. You'll understand what is exactly happening. But before that, let me ask you a question. See, sun is attracting the earth, right? Then why is earth not falling into the sun? See, if I catch you and pull you, now you'll come towards me, now. So if the sun is attracting the earth, why is earth not going and falling into the sun? Straightforward question. There's nothing, no trick, nothing there. If you say sun is attracting the earth, why is the earth not falling into the sun? What do you guys think? Think about it. I'll give you a minute. Any answers? What do you guys think? Tell me anything.
Velocity of his evolution is more.
Okay, but how does it balance the force? Velocity can't cancel force, no? Sun is attracting the earth with a force. But it is not falling inside. So, but how can velocity cancel the force? A force can cancel a force. Some people say centrifugal force. First of all, centrifugal does not exist. It's a fictitious force. So ignore that. Whatever you learned in school, forget everything. What I'm teaching right now, remember that. I'll teach you what is centrifugal force and all. It's a pseudo force. School mein they just spoiled the circular motion completely. Let me tell you what is happening here. See.
So can you show the previous page?
I'll show you. You can write it down later. So see this thing. Let's go. It is going with you. Now let's say this thing has an acceleration A. So take a very small time t. So you're taking for a very small time t. Now what will happen here? We are using kinematics, okay? In small time t, how much will it fall down? It will fall a distance of half at square. Agreed? Then the remaining distance will be how much? R minus half at square. And in the same time, horizontally it will travel how much? It will travel ut distance. No? Are you getting it? For a very small time t, we are assuming, the axis is perpendicular to u, so it will fall down half at square, and horizontally it will travel ut, and this distance is r. So it forms a right angle triangle. Are you getting? Two things are happening. One, you're falling down. Second, you're going horizontally. Now, using the Pythagoras theorem, we have ut whole square plus r minus half at square ka whole square is equal to r square. So u square t square r square 1 by 4 a square t power 4 minus ar t square. R square gets cancelled. T square will be u square minus ar plus 1 by 4 a square t square is 0. T square can't be 0, so this term is 0. This you can neglect because t is very small. You end up with u square is equal to ar. We get acceleration is u square by r. This means something. You know what this is trying to tell you? I'll put this page back again. So just listen. What this is trying to tell you, no? When you're going in a circle, something interesting is happening here actually. For this particular acceleration, when you give exactly when a is equal to u square by r, if this condition is satisfied, every time it falls down, the velocity is putting you back on a circle. Again, you will fall down. Again, it puts you back on a circle. Again, you fall down. When you go towards the center, it again puts you back on a circle. Are you getting what is happening? So if someone asks you this question now, when sun is attracting the earth, why it is not falling down? The answer is the earth is always falling towards the sun. But because of the velocity, it is getting back on the circle. Are you getting it? Every time I pull you down, you get back on the circle. I pull you into the center, you get back on the circle. I pull you, get back to the circle. But this happens so minutely, you don't even realize it. This is happening for every small instant, no? The time is very small actually. Only for you to understand, I exaggerated the figure. The figure would have been like this. You won't even understand. So small. Are you getting it? What happens if the acceleration is more than this? So this is the scenario for a circle. So every time it falls towards the center, it gets back on the circle. What if a is less than u square by r? Means you're giving acceleration less than required. Then what will happen? You will fall down, but you will go outside more. Means the particle will start spiraling out. So the particle won't go in a circle, it will spiral outside. If you're providing acceleration more than required, means you're pulling more, then you're going outside. Then you will spiral inside. Are you getting the catch? So if you want to go in a circle with a constant speed, there is only one acceleration which will make you go in a circle. You go with any other acceleration, either you'll spiral out or you'll spiral in. Ash, now put it down fast. So the catch is that, so when someone asks you that question, right, sir, why is the earth not falling into the sun? The answer is earth is always falling into the sun. Then why it is going in a circle? Because that velocity is not canceling the force, it is putting you back on a circle. Does it make sense? Every time I pull you 1 meter towards me, you walk, 1 meter to the left and you maintain that distance. You're getting it? It's like kind of think of like this. If this is 1 meter and it's like you walk away 1 meter, so the distance is always maintained. You come towards me, you go back again from me. You come towards me, you go back away from me. It feels like you're going in a circle. Think about like this thing for just for a second. Okay, sun stops attracting the earth. Let's say someone comes and catches the earth for a second. Earth will come to rest. You leave the earth, it will go straight into the sun. Isn't it? There is no force to stop the earth from falling. No? Clear with this thing? Next page. So put this down. Yeah, this thing, right? I just proved you using kinematics. Observe here. I didn't teach you any hi-fi concepts here. I just used simple kinematics to prove this thing. But you can't write this derivation HSC exam. Those guys won't understand. They want something hi-fi, so I'll show you that also. Put this down. This is the main concept in UCM. If you understood this one thing, the problems are quite easy. So whenever a particle has to go in a circle, you have to give this much acceleration. If you give this acceleration, it will go in a circle. You don't give this, it won't go in a circle. Straightforward. Put it down. Done. Next thing. Next thing. So from this we can make a statement. Now, so the statement is this. This is an important thing. See. Generally, what people think, if you're going in a circle, you'll get the force. If you see, that's how you experience. You're going in a car and car takes a turn. You suddenly experience someone is pushing you towards the door. So you think if you're going in a circle, you get the force. It is actually the other way around. If a particle goes in a circle, it needs to have acceleration. We proved it just now. If you don't have access in U square bar, you can't go in a circle. If you have acceleration, someone should provide this. A force is required to provide this acceleration. So actually, you don't get force because you're going in a circle. Because force is there, you're going in a circle. So this force is called centripetal force. So centripetal force, we keep saying now, it is not a new force. And acceleration is called centripetal acceleration. So this centripetal force, which we keep saying, it is nothing but gravity, tension, normal reaction. All these normal forces, when you use it for going in a circle, we call them centripetal force. Example, Earth going around the sun. So here gravitation is the centripetal force. So centripetal force is not a new type of force. Same way, suppose if you have a string and a block, and the block is going in a circle like this. So here the tension is there, tension in the string. Tension is the centripetal force. So because of the tension, it is going in a circle. So when you say centripetal force, it is not a new force. So friction, tension, gravitation, all this stuff, anything can be a centripetal force. The only thing is you should that should help you to go in a circle.
Done. Next thing.
This is a great demonstration for showing that if something's moving in a circle and you remove the centripetal force, it'll move in a straight line. Because we can ignore gravity. This with my students. I place an object about there and I ask them to tell me when I should lift the hoop so the ball knocks it down. Right, so
basically when it was going in that loop, right, who is providing the centripetal force? Again, see that.
place an object about there and I ask them to tell me when I should lift the hoop so the ball knocks it down.
So when he pushed it, it is going in a circle. He removed the loop, it went in a straight line.
Right, so as a physics teacher, I knew when to lift.
So if you see, right, when it is going in that loop, who is providing the centripetal force?
Normal.
The normal reaction, no?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a normal force between the hoop and this thing that is providing the acceleration. So when this guy is going, the ball is going here, the normal reaction is pushing it towards the ball. So that is providing the force towards the center. The moment you remove the ring, right, there is no normal reaction, it just went in a straight line. So as long as the force is there, you'll go in a circle. The moment the force is gone, you won't go in a circle. So it is that way.
The hoop because I knew the ball would go off at a tangent. Goes from move.
It's like,
Force is always directed towards the center of the hoop, the center of the circle.
that's a normal reaction.
Take away that force and the ball
Now
obeys
remove that
Newton's
force,
first
suddenly
law
the force
and
goes
carries
off.
on moving in a
Just
straight
continue
line.
going up. So that's what happens, tomorrow if the sun suddenly
This
vanishes
is
for
true
some
of
reason,
all
Earth will
objects
just go
moving
into
at a
space.
steady speed in a circle.
So, there. Yeah, next thing. Able to hear me? There is this problem where there's a new bug, I guess, with YouTube. I think my Bluetooth gets disconnected. Okay, put it down, this thing. Next thing. So A centripetal is U square by R, which is also written as, A is V omega square R. How did we get this? U is omega, R omega. So this is the centripetal acceleration. A is equal to U square by R and omega square R. So the important thing here, particle going in a curve has centripetal acceleration. So it's just need not be a circle. So particle is going in any curve, it will have a centripetal acceleration. For example, if a particle is going on a vehicle like this thing, it's like, this Imagica ride. This is what you'll experience. It's like almost like a going in a circle. We will see this later on. The acceleration will be towards the center. Here, the circle is like this, acceleration is towards the center. Here it is like this, acceleration is towards the center. If you go on a curved path like this is what happens on that, nitro car ride also. The acceleration is continuously changing direction up and down. So when you're going on this thing, so what you're experiencing is this acceleration only. And so your body is under a lot of stress actually. The force is continuously changing directions from up and down. So in order to protect, you, the body releases adrenaline hormone. So that it's like that fight or flight reaction. What do you think? It is excitement. Okay, the body thinks, boss, you're going to die, so let's do something about it. So it is releasing all kind of hormones into your body to make you ready for it, and you feel the thrill of it. So that's what is actually happening, when you're going on the rides. It is just an adrenaline rush, and that's happening because of this continuous change in acceleration.
Once you're pulled up, once you're pulled down, once you're pulled up, once you're pulled down, every cell in your body is feeling that kind of stress. So that's what happens. Put it up. So the simple thing is, this entire UCM teaches only one concept. If you go in a circle with speed u, radius r, you should have an acceleration u square bar. If you figured out that one point, right, the whole chapter, right, is quite easy to solve. Circular motion, that's the most important thing. After that, it is simply loss of motion only. But I don't know why school they don't teach that. They teach all weird things, centripetal, centrifugal, and all. Simple question: if sun is attracting the earth, why the earth is not falling into the sun? People don't know the answer. They give all weird reasons. Velocity cancels, centrifugal full cancels out. Copied. Next one. So let me show you how does that question come back. We are going to do more problems in this in the next class, but example. Let's say there is a block here which is going in a horizontal circle. This is going with speed u and this is radius r. Simple question. They'll ask you find the tension. First thing, what you have to do, draw a free body diagram. Normal reaction, mg. Did you see? NLM comes everywhere, laws of motion. If you don't know how to draw free body diagrams, you won't be able to solve. But there are only three forces. Don't draw centrifugal force, that doesn't exist. We will discuss about that later. Forget about it. Second point, since you're going in a circle, this is the statement you have to use. If you're going in a circle, you should have an acceleration. So since it goes in a circle, there should be an acceleration. We proved it. Done. Once you get this thing, Newton's second law. Net force is equal to mass into acceleration. mu square. There you got that answer. So this is how you solve the problems. Draw your free body diagram. If you're going in a circle, put the centripetal acceleration, write Newton's second law and solve. There is nothing more than that. Now this centripetal acceleration, right? Let's see. I'll try to solve using the integration calculus, differentiation basically. Turn the page.
Just a minute. Done, sir.
So centripetal acceleration. One sec, guys. I don't know what is happening with this.